Hello everybody, welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith. 595 puzzles solved. I can't really remember where we left off. I think it was the region of many mixed things, wasn't it? Oh yeah, we needed 2 more to get this castle gates gold, and there was like a couple of 6s and this 7 if we wanted to do that. And so was there also one puzzle around here that I just could not get my head around? This guy. I should just press R, but my right hand is on the mouse and my left hand isn't over the R button, so... Okay, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All regions are rectangular. Neighboring regions must have different areas. So, this piece. This cannot be a 1, so it must be at least this. This cannot be a 1. It can't join that because that's not rectangular anymore, so that gets a line. This cannot be 1. This cannot be 2 because it's touching this right now, but if it was 3, this couldn't be 2 because then this would be 2 and match it. This can't be 2 and 3 because that bends. For every way that I can make this make sense to me, this has to be this. And then the same rules apply on the opposing side, but we also have this 2 in place. So this is a 1, that has to be a 1 as well. This can't be a 1 next to it, so it has to be a 2. This has to be something different because we can't turn a corner. This one goes to here. That is that and that and that. Then the same thing just applies, it's just this is colored in for a 2. So, this has to be boxy. It can't be a 1. It could be a 2. This can't be a 1. It could be a 2. If this is 3, hold on, am I seeing a different possibility here? This could be a 1, that could be a 4, that could be a 2, and that could be... No, we can't have 2 3s. Right, so this can't be a 1. It can't be a 3, therefore it must be a 2. This could be a 1, that could be a 4 by or 2 by that. But this can't be a 1. Okay, let's flip that. Because this can't... This can be a 2, this can't be a 2. So if we did that, and that was the 3. Can't be a 3. Can't be a 1. Hold on. These 2 bottom rows have to be different. Because they can't be... They can't be 1... I need to get this thought out of my brain. If this was a 2, this can't be a pair of 1s. So they have to be different. Neither of them can be 3s. Therefore, one of these has to be a 2. This has to be a 2. Then this has to go up. But that can't be a 2. What is going on with this puzzle that my brain just cannot see the move? And I hate it. I could check progress just to make sure this is correct as I'm seeing it. Last time I used check progress, I feel like I ruined the puzzle for myself though. In settings, you can even hide the check progress button, I was told. So I'm not too tempted. Right. This cannot be a 1 size. It cannot be a 3 size. This cannot be a 1 size. or a 3 size. Therefore, this must be a 2, and this must be a 2. Okay. Now, this could be a 1. This could also be a 1, but they can't both be 1s. This can't be a 2. So I suspect this has to be the 4, with that as a 1. But this can't be a 2 next to that. And now it all comes unstuck again. Because this could be a 1, but that can't be a 2. I just don't see how this ever happens. This cannot be a 1. It can be a 2. It cannot be a 3. That's just facts. Oh my god, that's viable. Oh my god. That's going to change some things, isn't it? Oh my god. Okay. So, ages ago we speculated about why this 2 was a 2, but this wasn't. This is a viable way to construct this. Now we're going to find our way to the solution. Oh my god. And if I'd have used the check progress button, it would have told me I'm wrong, but I wouldn't have gotten to this myself. It would have nudged me more than I would have wanted. So this can't be a 1. It can now be a 2. It can also be a 3, so this can be a 2 and a 1. This can be a 2 and a 4. Is this looking more correct? This can't be a 2, it has to be at least a 3. This can't be a 3 that's next to this. That can't be a 1. It could be a 2 and a 1. That can be a 1 and a 3 and a 2 and a 1. This can't be a 4. A 2, a 3, no. I've started colouring in, which is bad. This could be a 3. No, it couldn't. Okay, that's 2 and a 1. I guess I'm pretty happy with that. How do we do this side then? This can be a 1 and a 4. And a 3. No. Oh, size. Okay. Yeah, size separation, not shape separation. 5 and a 3 and a 1. Oh, thank God. Okay. I really was so locked into this last time. I'm glad we got through that. So, what's left here? There's this 7. I'm sure there was like a couple of 6s around somewhere. Wasn't there? Because normally there's at least a couple of extra puzzles for options. I just can't see where they are right now. We've done you. We've done you. Done you. Done you. Done you. Done that one. Is there really not another 6 hiding here somewhere? Because it's unusual for the last puzzle to be... Oh wait, there's that one there. We definitely did see this previously, and I had a nightmare of a time of it. So should we just try the 7 then? Just commit some time to it. Assuming I can't see any other 6s around the place to do. Oh, there's you as well. Okay, there was a few then. They just, maybe we did the 6s and these were smaller ones that I didn't get to previously. So this has to be a domino. Size separation and palisades have to all be true. This has to be a domino. Because otherwise it would be, this would have to be a domino and a domino, which would put 2 2s next to each other, which is not allowed. So that does that. This comes to here, that goes to there. This can't be a domino, therefore that line has to exist. This has to be a domino with either you or you, as does this, but we don't know which. You could take those, but they can't both take those, so one has to be not that. Neighboring regions must have different areas, so it's just kind of figuring out what we can use the empty space for to make the areas have different sizes for the most part. Right, this can't be part of a piece that's size 2. This goes to here. That would have to go to there, because that can't go to here. That would have to come out. Can't go to there because it would be size 3, so it would have to come and be at least a size 4. Can't do that one because that would make a second domino, so that would have to go there. That would have to be a domino. Shall we just play this out and see how it goes? It goes terribly because that can't be a domino next to this domino. Alright then. So, ergo, I think that must do that, and that gets to be a domino. This can't be part of a domino, and it can't be part of a 3. Because that's that. So it would have to be... That could do that. I was trying to figure out how I could pick this up. If I do this, it becomes a domino, but it could do that. Which would be viable. That would split up this domino from any risk of being near this domino. If that were a domino, that could be a triangle, that could be a domino. Then it looks like it wants to be that. Oh, it is that. I was like, this one here doesn't get accounted for, but it doesn't have to, it's not got to have a piece in it. Sweet. All right, so that gets us our gold castle gates. And since I like to start videos on going forward into new areas, we are going to try and tackle this 7. Now, what frightens me about this is that sometimes you look at a 7. Let's see if we can go find one real fast. Sometimes you look at a big one and like it's like, oh, it's big and there's lots going on. Whereas this is very small and there's not that much going on. Which means that the logic that we have to find is going to be really, really particular, I imagine. Range 4-5 mismatch is all we have to work with. So let's start with all the stuff that we know. Because there's going to be quite a lot of it here. So all of those must come out to their respective regions. This blocks out this area, but can't colour in this. And it has to be a region between 4 and 5. So the question is going to become, if this is 7, 8, 9, it means there's going to be a 4 and a 5 between this and this. But is it going to be 5 and 5? Or is it going to be 4 and 5? Because it matters to then what's touching these. Because here's something for our brain. These two touch right now. One of them is going to be a 4, one of them is going to be a 5. Which means this can't touch this and this. Because all regions have to be 4 or 5. Oh, no, wait. I'm getting it wrong. They have different shapes, not different sizes. Good, excellent clarification to have for myself there. But there's certainly some percolating going on with that. This corner looks like it is quite limited. That is to say, this needs to come out to at least size 4. Can't take that tile, which means it must take this tile for size 5. Happy with that. That means this must take that, and then something else. This can't take that, so it must take either this, or both, or that. But this is definitely true. Now, I'm looking for things that are definitely true. This tile cannot take that tile, it gets to 6, so this must come over to here, at least. And this must take that tile because this can't colour up around it. This cannot take this tile because then that ends up as a 7. So you are definitely taking that one. This cannot be a 6. So you are taking that one. And you can't take that one because you match that shape. So all of our 4s and 5s have to be different. I think this is the only way that that 5 can exist. This could be one of these or one of these. We don't know yet. Right, this grid is exact apart from this, and just so I could wipe the... Actually, I can undo through a reset, can't I? So if I do that and this, it's 80 tiles. I'm just going to come over to another monitor here for a second. All right, there's no music because this window isn't focused, but this is our set of tetrominoes, which are size 4, and pentominoes that are size 5. This is 4 times 5 equals 20. And these are all different without any chiral changes. This is 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5 times 12 is 60, which then equals 5 times 12 equals 60, and 60 plus 20 equals 80. So we know that on this board, every pentomino and every tetromino is accounted for, and that's the only way that we can count up to 80 in its space. So that's a great bit of knowledge. Very happy to have internalized that now as we work forward. What I'm also going to do then, I've got myself a nice clean copy of that, and so we can start marking off. I think this one, the U shape, definitely must exist like this, so put a line through it. This guy, the P shape, also must exist like this, put a line through it, and I'm just going to have that over to the side for my reference. When we find something that I'm definitely sure exists in the shape that I'm seeing, I'll wipe it off, but not until I'm certain. So, more puzzling. This guy must come to here. Then it can do other stuff if it wants to. What else can we figure out must be true? Somewhere there needs to be a line of 4 and a line of 5. There aren't tons of places those lines can exist. The 4's got a little more freedom, but the 5 is this, or here, perhaps, or one of these. But there's not kind of too many options for that, but it doesn't give us anything definitive. This piece that we're looking at, this one, cannot come round to here, but it must make up 5. It can't share anything with this either. So it must make at least 4. So it's either got to be, at minimum, this or this. At minimum. But it could also be that. So I don't think that helps me. This can't come up to here. So something else is going to have to come down to there. This can't come up to here either. And it can't join this because we already have that shape. Therefore, I think this guy in blue must be that shape. Because we can't do that, can't do that, and we can't do that. So I think that leaves me... Can you be a rich red again, please? I think that leaves me with this and only this. So that crosses off you. I was just playing with the settings to see if I could keep the music playing while I'm focused on the other window, but borderless windowed and all the other ways of doing it don't do anything. So this must come out to here. Can't go up to there. Must come to at least here. Might be the... Oh, okay. I was going to say might be the L shape or might be this, but we've already used that. So I think that is the 4-long L shape, which would be this one. So we're getting somewhere. Slowly, but reasonably confidently, which is nice. What next? Okay, this here can't be the same shape as this, so it must either pick up this or this. Let's note that down. It's this plus this or this. Right, what else do we know to be true? It's a great question. Trying not to let myself make an assumption and then keep working off that assumption. So I could go like, well, this tile can't be reached by this guy, therefore it has to do that. But it could easily be, that could be the 4 straight piece, and that could be that, and then that could be that, and so on and so on and so forth. And that's only going to get me into trouble. So, what else can we do? This cannot go up to there. Doesn't really help me. What we do know, kind of, is that this has to go up to there and this has to go up to there. And so this must pick up one of those or the other. Which is then going to start impacting other shapes that can be made in the region. So that's going to pick up one of those. If it's this side, this can't go to here. So that would become a T, which we've already used. Okay, that looks good. Let's just work through that again. These two have to come up. This has to come down. Therefore, this is definitely taking on either this or this. This comes down and must meet that. And this must come down to here. If this takes on this, the only tiles left that this guy can take are this one and this one. We already have a committed T-shape, and we can't go up against ourselves onto the backside of that wall. Therefore, I think this must take those. Now, it might take this tile as well. It can't take that one, so we can draw that line in. We can draw that line in, because it can't take this tile, because that ends up on its own. So that still comes out to here. This might take that, it might not, but that's more good progress. Okay, now let's look at this. If this takes this tile, it would have to take that tile as well, and that would become this. That would be valid. If this takes this... Okay, let's reframe that. This needs a fourth. It could take that one, or it could take that one. We already have a committed T-shaped piece. So, with that T already existing, this must take either that, which it can't, or that, and then it's got nowhere else to go, because it can't make a H, that's too big, and it can't join up with that, because it goes the other side of the line, so I think that must be the plus symbol. And then we can mark off a big plus or X, as it is here. That means this guy has to get out. That traps this in, so that's a shape. What is that called? We call that over here, at least, N is done. So we're making good, steady, gentle progress, which is nice. This tile needs to be gotten by somebody. If it goes out like this, then it blocks that in, and that can't be. Therefore, this has to pick up that one. It might be this shape, or it might be just the straight 4. But this cannot do that and leave a 2. It cannot do that because that shape already exists and leaves a 1. This one can't escape to here. So, with all that in mind, this has to be a 4, but it might be a 5. It can't be this 5 because that gets left alone as 1, so that line exists. We just don't know if this picks this up or not yet. Okay. Where do we go next? This could pick up those. So that's not for certain yet. This can't pick up that. But this could come out like this or something. So we can't say like that's a line or anything of that regard yet. This must come out of the 1 gapper. If it comes out of the 1 gapper, it could sprawl out in any direction it wants, and this could still be 4 and 4, and that would be valid. So I can't say yet whether this joins up with that or not, which is a shame. So let's do a question mark over this border. It does join up with this, then it's getting very similar to this, and we can't have both of those being just the lightning bolt. It needs to pick up something else. Looking back to the straight shot for a 5 line, it could still be this. Oh, let me do. It could still be this. It could hypothetically be this, if that was big T, which we haven't used yet. It could be this. It can't be this, because that would leave a 5 gap behind it that can't be a 4 and a 1 or another straight shot 5, so that one can't be. It can't be this either, because that would leave this 2-gapper alone. Are there any other places on the board that straight 5 could exist? I don't think so. So I'll leave those marks as kind of hypotheticals on board. So what next? Trying to also now think about what other places remain for the awkwardly shaped pieces. I haven't done the 5-wide V yet, which would be this. And there's not that many places left where it could fit. In fact, are there almost anywhere it could fit? It's like it can't go here because it chops off some of that. It can't go. It could go there with something else going here. It could obviously be this. But if it did that, we would have a awkward number of pieces left under here. The W can fit in a lot of places. This is looking like a strong candidate for big T, but can't be guaranteed yet. Like, if this came out to this side and this came out to here, that could be big T with that over top. There's also 2x2 square that needs to go in. I'm just going to think about this V shape some more. Because there's got to be kind of only so many places it can now actually fit. And we might be able to do some elimination. If it were here, a 5 could exist there. That could come out to there. This would have to come across twice. And have we used that shape yet? We have. We have used that shape. Where is it? It's here. So it can't be that one, I think. If it were this, then that could be the 5 that would come out. It would leave 2. If it were the 4 long, it would leave the Z, but that would also be a Z. We can't have 2 Zs or S's. So I think that's out. It can't go there because it leaves this alone. It could go there. I think that would be viable. I think it's unlikely to be here or here. I think there's just a couple too many options. Like, it could be there with a big hook over it or something. Okay, let's get off that train of thought and think about something else. There's only 3 spots the 5 long can go. Lots of spots the 4 long can go. The 2x2 can only go anywhere up here. Could go there. Could hypothetically go there. There. It's basically anywhere that there's one of these empty cross sections is where the 2x2 can go. It can't go on this one, because if it did, that line would be in place, and we can't have this or that touch there, which means it can't be that one either. It can't be this one, because that line would be in place, and then we can't have this shape existing here as well. If it was this one, then that line would be in place, We can't do a horseshoe. We can't do an L. We can't do that. So I don't think it can be that one. If it was this one, then that would have to be a 4 or the 5 long. That could be that. That could be the T. That could come out to there or perhaps there. That would put that at the 5 long, and that would have to be a T as well, which can't be. So that's not possible. If this were the 2x2, that could be 5 long. That would have to be an S. That would have to be... the T. Which means that would also have to be a T, which can't be. Can't be the hook. That can't be a 4 long. It can't do that. It can't do that. I don't think it can be that one either. If it was this one, then that would have to either cut off the... No, that can't be an L, so that would take this. That means this would have to be the 4. No, yeah, that would have to be the 4, because that shape can't also exist. Which means that would have to be a very long hook, which we haven't used yet. That could be the long straight or the 4 straight. That would be an F. That could be the Z. I think that is possible. This is probably not the strongest exercise in the world, is it? If this is the 4, let's work on the confined side. If this was a 4 or a 5, that can't be another 4 and a 5. That would have to be a 4, which would leave that blocked, so it can't be that one. If this was the 4, then this tile can't exist. If this was the 4, then that would have to be the 5 long V. That would be that shape. This would have to come out to here. So 4x4, T, that. This can't be a T, so that would have to come out to there. This would have to get out to here. There's a 3 long, and if it goes up, we've already used an L. If it goes over, we've already used that shape there. If it goes up, that makes a second V in this solution. So I'm beginning to think that I think it was this one, or it might have been this one that was one of the only 2 that had a viable path for the 2x2 to exist. So if we call this A and this B, let's just try B again first. So B makes this the T shape. You know what? With B marked there, we can actually do some coloring. So that has to come out. Can't go there, can't do that, has to do this. That becomes the 5 long. That becomes the T, I think. No, we've got T in place already. We've used stubby T already. Is there any version of this where I can make it work? That makes 2 of those. I'm starting to think this doesn't work this way. Can't do that. Okay, I don't think B works. So if we go back to A. If we go back to A. That's coloured. That has to come out to there. Which means this has to be the 4 long because it can't exist twice. This has to come down. This has to come down again. This has to be our 5 long because that's our 4 long. This has to come out to here. Oh, this isn't looking good, is it? I thought we were onto something, and we might not have been onto something. Can't use the hook twice. There's just a really awkward amount of tiles down here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, that whole train of thought has rendered out nothing for me. So, now what? Oh, God. I'm trying to think of places the W could exist without being a problem. There's not many of them. Like, if the W were true, that would be a 5. That would be big T. That would be out to there. This would have to be that, but it exists already. So we can't do big W there. Where else can we do big W? Not there, I think, for what gets trapped on the opposing side of that wall. Oh, I need something else to work with here. These are the spots the 5 long can exist. This is either this or this, but we don't know which yet. Spaces where the Z piece could exist have to be fairly few and far between. Can't be this because it makes a Z over it. Can't be that, it makes negative space. Can't be that because that can't wrap around there. Could be... No, it can't be that because there's too much space to fill in around the place. can't be that, because if that goes 4 and that goes over, that would make a second one of itself. Where else could we put it? I want to think about this square for a bit. Is it true that this square must touch that square? I think it is, because if this is 5 long, it gets trapped. But no matter all the areas around us right now, this can't get to there. This can't get to there with that being true too. So I think this must come up to there. The only tiles that have the 2x2 are the P, which has already been used, and the 2x2. If the 2x2 is true, then that would have to come out to there. That would have to come out to here. That would have to come out to there. That can make the Z piece. What else would be true after that? If this made that, this would need to be at least something with 3 long on it. What else is left at 3 long? That. Right, so this story starts at 2x2. What's left? There's no W in this. And the lack of the W spacing is a real problem. Like, there's nowhere to put that W in that doesn't leave us without repetition or some other problem. I still think that must touch that. It could touch this as well. Oh, I need some logic somewhere. We know that must touch that. That we already knew. It's just got uncolored at some point. Oh, come on. This was going so well down here. Right. If this comes here and that goes there, that can't do that. So this and this must be in a group together. Because this can't reach up there. This can't reach up there. This can reach down here. But that and that must be in a group together. In some capacity. That's our piece of knowledge. This piece here, if this is the terminus, would have to do that or that. That would be a valid shape. But the forelong wouldn't and the horseshoe wouldn't. That would all be valid. That means This would have to come down. Can't do that. Can't do that because that already exists, so I think that path's no good. But this is more exercises in colouring rather than finding definite steps forward. Come on. This piece took that piece. Could it make any other shape that isn't already currently used? It can't make the plus. It can't make this shape because that cuts that out. It can't make that shape because it leaves that alone. So either this must take that piece, or this must come to here. And that's not super helpful. Did I already try this being the 2x2? I feel like I did. Long already exists. Oh, give me something. We look at this and this. I think one of these has to be the Z shape in some fashion, and one of them has to be this shape, because they can't both be the Z, they both can't be the F, right? So if this is true, that can't do that, it can't do that, so I think that's not true. I can't make two of those. We've already tried that. So if that is this, then what? Have we got big regular hook yet? No. We've used this already. So that has to go that way. Can't do that because that leaves that as a loner. I'm so lacking a step of logic. Alright, I'm going to go eat something, and then we're going to come back to this with slightly fresh eyes. Because I am suffering. Alright, we are refueled. But What are we doing? I'm wondering if, knowing, or at least hopefully correctly assuming that these 3 options for our 5 long are correct, maybe we just kind of explore one to see where the limits lie. So this would have to be this. That can't come round to there, so that would have to be a different shape. That would have to come down to here, and therefore it can't work out. Because if this was straight, that would be a straight. We can't have those straights all existing together. There's just no way I think I can get this corner existing in the way it needs to while this is out in that direction, I think. That leaves a 1er. Can't have 2 of those, so I can't see a way that I can make that one work. What about this one? You would have to be picked up by that. And then we have the big T available, but not the little t. We can't have 2 of those. So that picks that up. That has to be a different color. These have to get picked up by somewhere without leaving this abandoned on its own. That can't go to there, so that would be a shape. If this goes to here, it can't be an L, it can't be the T. It could be that. Then, if that's the big T, that would have to be that instead. Okay. So this resolution makes 2 shapes that this can't be both of. So, what else could we do? That gives the availability of a T. This is looking best so far in a long time. What haven't we used? Great question. Haven't used the big long L yet. And I don't know where I'm going to fit that into this. Which is its own problem, obviously. Because we can't put it there. Can't put it there. Definitely not used it yet, have we? No, and I can't see anywhere that I can put it now. Have we used a 4 long? Yes. This is not looking good, is it? We need the 2x2. We need the 4 and 1 over. Oh. I just don't have any logic to go off of from here. I'm still very happy with everything that we've gotten up to this point. But at this point, I'm just bifurcating everything into, oh, if we do this, go follow a path, doesn't work, come back, follow a different path, and that's no way to solve another half of this puzzle. I don't see any other kind of really big... Well, if this is... Where else could we put this shape? 4x1. Or 4 long with a 1 nub. Can't do that. I just want one more little nugget of definite logic to blow this whole thing open. Oh, and we've been going for like 40 minutes now on this one puzzle, and I made all the progress in the first 5, you know? Of course, you know, you've seen it all. It's entirely possible that something here isn't right. And I know we already just had this conversation today. Everything entered so far is correct. All right. I feel better about that. Where do we go from here? Where can we fit the 4x1 in? Where is the logic? What else do we know? I still think either this has to be that or this has to be that. Because we have to pick up that shape from somewhere. And these are the only kind of 2 that really start off with the foundations of it. If these 2 tiles are correct, what shape can they actually be a part of? Not this, because that can't exist and that can't exist. If it was this, then that can't exist, it would go to there. That would come out to here. This would have to come across, and then it can't go up, so it must come across again, and then that must be taken because it can't leave a oneer. Then this takes this. That can't be that. It can't be that. So if that takes that, then where is the W going to go? Which is a problem we've half explored before. So what else can this be a part of? If it's not the 2x2, and it's not the 4 long straight, and it's not the F or the L or the T, we just tried the V. You can't copy that. You can't copy that. You can't be alone. I just don't see what other shape it can be a part of. Just stressing me out that we've been here so long with so little progress. Okay. This piece is either going to be this or this. We start with the T. What else can we narrow down? Probably not tons. This can't do that. Could do that. Can't do that twice. Can do that. Can't do that twice. That can be the 4. But that can't do that with that independently. What else can this belong to? Not the Z, not a T, not an L, not the F. If that's true, that has to be a different color to this. I'm so mad that I can't make any progress. God, I want to make some progress. Alright, I am lacking any real path forward right now, so I'm going to pause the recording and redo my elimination of where the 2x2 can go, because I thought I was onto something once as I did that exercise the first time, but you don't need to see me do it all again. So if I get to some logical step where the 2x2 can only exist in one of these, we'll progress from there. But we've been going too long for me to do that, all of that for you again. So I'll be back very shortly. All right, doing this exercise again, I've eliminated all of these spots because this can't leave that alone. That can't leave those alone. That can't leave this as a 5 that makes the same shape as that. This can't just make any kind of shape that remains with what is left. This has the same problem with not being able to do kind of this or that with this remaining when this already exists, because that has to get out, which means that exists. This can't block that in. This can't block that in, and that can't be the same as that. This can't block... this would be a 5, then that would have to be a 4, because it can't be another 5. And this needs that tile to be part of it. So, all of that gets me to this, I think, definitely being that. And if that's not true, then I don't know what I've screwed up somewhere. But I think that must be what that is. So that's not that. I don't know how I didn't get this the first time round, or if I then screwed up something else along the way. But if that's true, that means this must come 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't be the same 4 as this, must be 5. This can't be left alone, must be that. And then we go from there somewhere. This goes 1, 2, 1 over. Can't go to there, must come to here. Can't leave that one alone, picks up that. That means that this can't be our 5 long. Which I think leaves this as the only option left for 5 long, but we'll keep working towards that. This can't block that in for a 2, so that's going to be our big T. Let's then check off some of these. So we've done 2 by 2. We've done F. We've done V. We've done Z. We've done big T. That leaves us with 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 tiles left. Is that right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 24. That's 24, okay. So now I can get rid of this. Where in this can the W still exist? Well, let's also look at the Y here, the 4 long with 1 protrusion. 4 long with 1 protrusion could be this. But then, if this existed, it's the same as that. That's actually going to tell us a lot about this, I think. If we've decided that this exists, then this could be this, leaving that to come out to somewhere else, and that could be the 4 long. What else do we have? The W needs to fit in here somewhere. We haven't got the 4 long in yet, or the 5 long. If that's the 5 long, because I don't think it can exist anywhere else. I'm so worried that something here has gone wrong. That can't do that because we've got no F the W to fit. Because we definitely haven't used the W yet. I could use the check progress button on this just to see if everything I've done through this bottom right corner is correct. up till making this 2x2. I really just want to find it on my own. Oh, thank God. I don't know when I accidentally erased that one there, but there was probably some other logic that got me there, but redoing the exercise about the 4x4s got me to where I needed to be, but what a nightmare. All right, that is 36 plus 1 now. We can let that sleeping dog lie for now. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.